stage, please.
Thank you very much, Eli. Excellencies, distinguished participants, a very warm welcome to this side event on sustainable ocean development beyond GDP, scaling up global efforts to make nature and people count through ocean accounts. We are here today because of a shared vision to achieve the future we want for our ocean, a future where ocean resources and ecosystems are protected and maintained to support sustainable economic growth and livelihood. This relates to SDG 14 and its connection with other goals in the 2030 agenda, and especially the role oceans play in sustainable development. Commitments to the Beyond GDP agenda are embedded in the 2030 agenda, the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, and the vision of the High-Level Panel for a Sustainable Ocean Economy. In our region, in Asia Pacific, sustainability for people and planet shapes our approach to working with countries to pursue inclusive, resilient, and sustainable solutions to development challenges. Last month, ESCAP Commission discussed how to make better use of beyond GDP measures to inform policy. This August, chief statisticians in our region will discuss how to ensure fit-for-purpose official statistics are available to guide policy. Meeting beyond GDP commitments rely on our ability to measure and manage progress, understand trade-offs, and make informed decisions. Originating in Asia Pacific only a few years ago, ocean accounts attract global attention, providing countries with a critical tool for planning the transition to a sustainable ocean economy. The global attention is not least due to the efforts of Global Ocean Account Partnership, or GOAP, our co-organizer of today's event. ESCAP is proud to co-chair this partnership with Fisheries and Oceans Canada, and I'm delighted to observe the continued growth and interest as well as maturity of the partnership. I sincerely thank high-level government representatives from Australia, Fiji, Indonesia, Maldives, Mexico, Norway, UK, and USA, as well as BNP Paribas for joining the panel today. Ocean accounts help answer key policy questions, so it is very important that we continue to ask for ocean account and the information that they provide. To this end, I'm very pleased to announce ESCAP's new voluntary commitment to continue to convene governments and other stakeholders in Asia and Pacific to enhance regional cooperation on the ocean and continue to support countries as well as regional and global partnership in the implementation and, of course, use of ocean account for sustainable ocean development. I wish you a very lively and fruitful discussion. Thank you very much.
I don't know what this is. We're leaving that there. Okay, thank you very much. We have these visionary leaders here, and I say they're visionary because they are leading countries and organizations that are helping bridge two groups that we've heard a lot at this conference need to talk to each other. Those understanding the ocean science and those understanding the benefits for people, and the economics, and the value of the ocean. That's what accounting does. And they're doing it by leading their countries and modeling best behavior through ocean accounts. That behavior will serve us well not only in the ocean space, but going beyond, as we've heard, in nature, climate, and other challenges of the 21st century. After all, our current national accounts were designed to solve our 20th century problems. They helped some. Now we have faced 21st century problems, and we need to change and go beyond GDP. We know this all. There are many country-level and international programs helping make this happen. There's the Global Ocean Accounting Partnership, our co-hosts today. There is the UN System of Environmental Economic Accounting, or SEA. UNEP and World Bank's Wealth Accounting programs are all helping. But we're here to hear from our panel, so I'm going to stop talking and introduce them. Today we have Mr. Manopo, the Director General for Marine Spatial Management, Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries from the Government of Indonesia. We have Dr. Marquez, President of the National Institute of Statistics and Geography, Government of Mexico. Ms. LaBeouf, the Assistant Administrator of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration from the United States, the Ocean Services Group. Mr. James Smith, the Deputy Director of International Marine Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, the Government of the UK, United Kingdom. Dr. Nasir, the Minister of State for Environment and Climate Change and Technology, Government of the Maldives. Mr. James Larson, Deputy Secretary, Department of Environment and Water, the Government of Australia. And Mr. Henrik Harbo, Prime Minister Sherpa to the High-Level Panel for Sustainable Ocean Economy, Government of Norway, along with Mr. Taboni, Director of Impact Investing from BNP Paribas. So let's jump right in, shall we? Because they've given us very little time for such a great topic. So Mr. Smith, I want to start with you. We were all very excited last year when the United Kingdom made a lot of news over the Dasgupta review. Can you tell us how ocean accounting can help implement the principles of the Dasgupta review, including in developing countries?
So, thanks, Eli. And first off, can I say just what a pleasure it is to be here at such a fantastic event today, and honoured to be as part of such a distinguished panel. So, I mean, firstly, the UK is hugely proud to support the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership through our Blue Planet Fund. It's helping to protect some of the world's most vulnerable but absolutely vital ocean environments and the communities that rely on them. I think it's really hard to overstate just the social value of natural capital and its role in fighting poverty. The position we're in is serious. Biodiversity is declining faster than any time in human history. These declines are undermining nature's productivity, resilience, the adaptability, and fueling extreme risk and uncertainty for economies as well as well-being. I hope you'll all agree the Dasgupta review really did illustrate the disproportionate impact of that biodiversity loss, the declines on low and middle income countries. So to prevent this, the messages of that review, I hope, were really, really clear, calling on us all to ensure that our demands on nature do not exceed its supply, and to change our measures of economic success to guide us on that more sustainable path by including nature as that key component. It also is underlining that measures of social and economic progress are totally incomplete without consideration of environmental assets and environmental sustainability. I heard earlier in the week, actually, a very good quote saying we value what we can measure. And I think without understanding the condition of our marine and coastal habitats and the benefits we gain from these assets, it's just hugely difficult to understand the economic and social impacts of losing them. I'm a policy official by background. I have some science, but I'm by no means an expert. And this knowledge gap makes it hugely challenging, if not, I would say, impossible, for us to make effective, inclusive and sustainable policy decisions about the ocean. I'm clear that ocean accounts can support and should support achieving the recommendations of the Dasgupta review. Well-functioning ocean accounts help us to better monitor the demand and supply of nature and prevent its overexploitation. And that provides the significant building blocks towards, as I say, including nature within nature accounts. And they enable decision makers, like myself, to really track whether the investments that we are investing in are really building ocean wealth for the future generations, or indeed are not, and where we must change and course correct. With enough data, we can monitor changes in ocean wealth, including the produced assets such as ports, offshore energy, non-produced assets such as mangroves, coral reefs, how ocean-related income is dispersed among different groups of people, and such income from fisheries or tourism affects and can support the livelihoods of local communities, and just generally the contribution of ocean-based economic activities to natural production. So I think, just to conclude really, by utilising the ocean accounts, it really does help both to protect against the loss of nature that is so tragic at the moment, but also just supporting and helping to counter the displacement and effects on the world's most poorest resources and livelihoods and communities. This approach is strongly aligned with what the UK is trying to do, including from its Blue Planet Fund. We put £1 million into Global Accounts Partnership last year, supporting pilots across the globe, but Kenya, Mozambique, Indonesia, Fiji, Vietnam, amongst others. And I'm hugely delighted to say that today we are confirming that we'll be able to put an additional £6 million into Global Ocean Accounts Partnership over the next 3 years to build on the successful collaboration that is already in place.
Thank you very much. That's really exciting, that announcement about the extra support for ocean accounting. Is there any specific comments you would like to make about how this can help with how the UK is using accounts or can help developing countries use them specifically, beyond what you've just said, because that was pretty exciting?
Yeah, no. Just a little bit more flavour, I guess. So yeah, the UK sort of marine natural capital accounts came in 2021, and we were able to estimate the value of, for example, fisheries in the UK EEZ, sustainable and unsustainable, and therefore obviously directing decision making on how we go forward with such approaches in the future. We are helping, it helps to develop new methods of estimation of flood defences and the impact of floods, including the benefits of salt marsh and blue carbon sequestration as well. Just to give you a little bit of flavour, the natural accounts, for example, found that about 40,000 properties in suburban and urban areas receive flood protection from our salt marshes, with an estimated asset valuation of just under £400 million. So it starts to get real. You start to build in actually these sorts of assets into your accounts, and that helps drive the decision making. These figures can help individual policy areas, but actually what the power is how you combine it into that aggregated sum at national level, and also to better support, obviously, globally through developing countries making use of those accounts and really increasing the capability and capacity to do that. So we're also always committed to sharing expertise, capacity building, and the benefits just need to be clearer.
That's excellent. That's very exciting. And Mr. Manopo, Mr. Smith had just mentioned your partnership. And so I wanted to ask you, that's not a new partnership. Indonesia is engaged in ocean accounting and is really elevating it on the world stage in a very exciting ways. How is ocean accounting helping Indonesia frame a sustainable ocean economy there?
Thank you, President. To respond to this question, let me start with current ocean management policy and priority. That are based on blue economy approach. Blue economy itself is regulated under the Indonesian law on ocean. Blue economy guides the ocean resources management and sustainable use, considering our vast ocean areas and extensive use of ocean socio-economic purposes, balancing the ecology, economy, and social element are the key issues. The Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries undertakes key action and concrete target to respond to those issues. This includes covering 100% marine waters with marine spatial plan with current numbers 49%, and expanding and increasing level protection of marine biodiversity to reach 30% of our ocean through MPA and other area-based conservation measures, and applying sustainable use of marine resources through quota base for fisheries, and increasing sustainable aquaculture both for highly commercial species for export and local, and native species for biodiversity preservation. On that context, action and targets, ocean accounting provides a comprehensive instrument for tracking and monitor the process, and strengthening science-based ocean policy where decisions are made from scientific data and information, ensuring ecological, social, and economic objectives for ocean management are achieved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to follow up on that and ask, so and why is measuring these changes in ocean wealth with ocean accounts so important for Indonesia? And what was the moment that you felt that?
As I mentioned before, that the law on ocean mandate the government to ensure the sustainability ocean resources management. In our current marine and fisheries policy, ecology safeguard is a top priority. We believe that without healthy ocean, there will no economic growth and people prosperity. We cannot achieve that objective without knowing how all aspects of the ocean sustainability we are measured. Knowing only much ocean contributes to local and national economy, therefore, is not enough and not complete. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we've heard from two countries that have been doing some ocean accounting for a bit now. And now, Dr. Nasir, the Maldives is just starting on an exciting adventure with ocean accounting. Can you tell us, to go beyond GDP, why is this important for a country like yours? And what helped you make that connection?
Thank you. Sorry. Should I move over there? It's okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to speak at this side event. Very interesting. Ocean-dependent countries like the Maldives has their entire GDP dependent on the ocean. For the Maldives, 89% of our GDP depends entirely on marine biodiversity. But this dependency on the ocean is not well understood for small island nations like us. And it is not even recognized in our accounting systems in any way. So we need to know more about the conventional way of accounting. We need to go beyond the conventional way of accounting the GDP and ensure our accounting systems include not only the dependency on biodiversity, but also its richness and the conditions of our oceans ecosystems. As we all know, establishing a natural capital account will not be an easy task for any country. There are only very few examples I can think of across the world on success stories. Maldives has taken up this challenge, and we are hoping to establish our natural capital accounts. I can give you an update today of where we are in this, the challenges that we have, and what we plan to do in the future. The Maldives, being a large ocean states, similar to many other small island developing states, we have nearly 1 million square kilometers of ocean, and only 1%, which consists of about 300 square kilometers of land scattered across the ocean as 1,200 tiny islands. These islands are actually products of biological products of the reefs, reef growth, and functions of coral reefs. So we Maldivians receive these byproducts of the biological products as our home. And all our ecosystems, including coral reefs, seagrass beds, mangroves, and islands, are products of the ocean, of course. So as a country of 100%, almost 100% of ocean, our livelihoods, and our economy and well-being are totally dependent on the ocean. So therefore, for the Maldives, a natural capital account is an ocean account. We try to protect these resources in many ways by ensuring sustainable fisheries. Most of you would have heard about the sustainability of our fisheries, pollen line tuna fisheries, by establishing marine protected areas, by managing pollution, and also by reducing our contribution to global warming. So Maldives is moving forward also to a blue economy, where we are in the final stages of developing a blue economy strategy and a marine spatial plan. While there is more to do on our side to protect and sustainably manage the ocean, we are also dependent on global action and global support for, especially it's a challenge in a challenging work like developing natural accounts. This includes capacity building, technology development, resources that we do not have readily available at national level. So as an ocean state, we have decided to become a member of the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership so that we can learn from other member nations through this partnership and establish collaborations to access technology and expertise in our endeavor. We started the implementation through a project funded by the Global Environment Facility in 2021, and which is our main platform to drive this work on natural capital accounts. And currently, we are in the final stages of hiring an international consultant who would assist in this work through the Ocean Accounts Partnership. So in the next few years, we anticipate a fully developed natural capital accounts system for the 20 administrative atolls of the Maldives. Through the same project, we also plan to strengthen institutional capacities, establish perhaps software and hardware and mechanisms to integrate natural accounts into the main frame of the government accounting systems, hopefully through our finance ministry. And through this project, we also hope to identify future resources, capacity, and technology needs, and sustainably manage on how to sustainably manage natural capital. In the near future, we need resources. We need more assistance to extend the natural capital account to the whole of Maldives, to the 21 atolls. As our current work is to target this as a pilot project in only one of our 21 atolls. To establish a sustainably managed and well-integrated natural capital account, we have a long way to go, obviously. And we thank the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership for their support so far, and also hope to continue our collaboration. So thank you with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting, and looking forward to watching this develop. So as we watch the Maldives accounts develop, let's go to Ms. LaBeouf, and you can tell us, the United States just published an update to the Marine Economy Satellite Account. What surprised you most when you saw that, and how's that influencing decision-making and helping the U.S. develop a sustainable ocean economy? I think they're managing it from the back.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you so much for that question, and thank you to the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership for the opportunity to be here today and for convening such a wonderful panel with such diverse expertise and experience on this topic. And while I am honored to represent the United States, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge our very large and wonderful team back at NOAA that worked on this project. NOAA's chief economist, Dr. Monica Grasso, and a team of economists and experts from all across NOAA put themselves to the test of better understanding how to do ocean accounting. We've been monitoring and tracking changes along our coasts and the coastal communities and people for nearly 2 decades. But in collaboration more recent with our U.S. Economic Statistical Bureau, NOAA is proud to have developed our very first Marine Economy Satellite Account, or as we call it, MESA. NOAA has been investing in measuring the ocean economy since the 1990s. And now our bench of economists, in partnership with the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, have created the first official and comprehensive U.S. measure of the marine economy, and it utilizes advanced accounting and economic approaches in use around the world. The U.S. Marine Economic Satellite Account includes oceans and coasts, as well as marine-related inland activities and industries. And we did release an update on June 9th. Our 2020 statistics show us that our marine economy, first and foremost, you said as a surprise, continues to grow and prosper, remaining resilient to the broader economic downturns that we've had more recently. In 2020, the marine economy in the United States accounted for almost 2%, over $360 billion of our GDP, supporting 2.2 million jobs. So we knew that the marine economy in the United States was large and vibrant, but we now have data to back that up. And we can now show that the U.S. economy is highly diverse and larger than our agricultural, utilities, and our data processing industries. So as the world seeks to account for traditional and non-traditional contributions to GDP, having rigorous accounting measures as those we've already heard about today, we know will play a key role in enabling this to happen, but also in our extensive international collaborations and coordinations as we look for more sustainable ocean development. Indeed, I would really do want to highlight that we very much appreciate our partnership with the OECD and OECD's leadership on the development of international accounting standards. OECD's visionary team of economists has led the way and has helped us, and we've worked very closely with them over the years to learn about the ocean economic metrics that they've developed, and helping us all kind of wake up to the fact that, as was said, it has to be measured, to be valued, and we're very excited to be one of those now measuring it.
That's very exciting. So also on Earth Day, President Biden announced the United States plans to incorporate natural capital accounting into the nation's accounting activities. How is that going to work with the marine satellite account?
Yeah, thank you. And we're very excited that this past Earth Day, as was said, the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, or OSTP, announced that it will be coordinating federal agencies to develop a set of natural capital accounts to incorporate environmental accounting into our systems. We at NOAA welcome the announcement, and we know that the inclusion of natural capital begins to help us tell a fuller story of the natural world and all of the services that it provides to us. NOAA is supporting this effort by expanding MESA to include natural capital accounting in ways that sound very similar to those of might be happening in the United Kingdom, including focusing some of our pilots around decision support for sustainable fisheries and coastal protection evaluation. So we are, of course, going to be looking at our traditional sources of information on seafood and fish stock value, whether that's landings information, wholesale and retail prices, etc. But now we're going to be also looking at the intersection of pollutants and other environmental stressors that could actually impact those fish stocks or even make fish populations and fish that we land unusable and unfit for human consumption. But as we also heard, these accounting approaches can be adjusted also to help us more explicitly look into the coastal protection of ecosystems and climate adaptation and resilience. So we're working on that as well, looking to dive deeper into that aspect of our work. And I will say, importantly, this kind of data, the accounting information, we realize can be used in combination with other kinds of information that we have already been deriving to develop even more ignite through data and information, what we're calling the new blue economy, where just the production of information and data from our traditional sources can be blended together and in combination with this new marine satellite account deliver critical insights to decision makers and governments so that we can all, including private sector and philanthropy, better inform our decisions and promote our interests. So we're really excited of combining this new tool for us and for working with our international colleagues. Thank you.
That's very exciting. And I hear there's exciting things happening in Mexico, too. So, Dr. Marquez, let me ask you, I hear that there's growing interest and excitement around ocean accounting and ocean governance in Mexico. How is ocean accounting helping pave the way for a sustainable ocean economy? And what problems is it helping you solve?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ali. First of all, I would like to start by thanking the organizers for giving me the opportunity to participate in this very diverse and interesting panel. And as you mentioned, interest is growing. Fortunately, we have the statistical and geospatial infrastructure to engage in a long-term project on marine accounts. In Mexico, INEGI is responsible for not only the statistical information, but also the geospatial information that allows then the integration of information of a wide range of topics. And also, the National Statistical Office is responsible for the coordination of all entities of governments at federal, local, and state level. So this infrastructure, statistical and geospatial information, is critical for engaging in this project. Also, as you may know, there is an ongoing process of updating the system of national accounts in preparation for its release in 2025. Statistical offices, as INEGI, from around the world are participating in the global consultations. And some of these consultations are on touches topics as well-being and sustainability, digitalization, and informal economy, all them related to the building of marine accounts. I'm sure that with this new release of the system of national accounts would be important refinements, much needed for the methodological aspects of GDP. Still, there are a lot of things to be done in areas that are partially accounted or are left out completely. I'm certain that the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership will play an essential role in the coming years to complement what is being discussed at the new system, for the new system of national accounting, especially in areas of well-being measurement at global, national, and local levels. And the third component that we have in this statistical infrastructure is that we have participated in a pilot project, the evaluation of natural capital accounting and valuation of ecosystem services. This was concentrated on land services, and the main results of this project was that 3.1% of GDP was the services provided by land ecosystems. And the services we measure in that pilot approach project was carbon sequestration, pollination, carbon storage, water, supply to agricultural production, and sustainable and nature tourism. We are now in the process of updating the data for these results and commit ourselves to measure periodically ecosystem services according to this methodology. So we do have the interest in embarking into the ocean accounting, since we are sure that we have the experience and the methodological proficiency to do so. We do understand and we agree that it's a complex project, but I think with the help of GOAP and with all the colleagues around the table, would be much easier. Thank you.
Yeah, it's always easier when we work together on these problems,
right.
isn't it? So as you're working together in Mexico, are there specific desired outcomes that you're hoping to be able to point to after the next go-around or sooner?
Yeah, we're particularly interested in linking land ecosystem services and ocean ecosystem services, because we do believe it's a continuum. We cannot just separate oceans and coastal ecosystem from land ecosystem. So we are interested, at least at the beginning, to focus on how these two types of ecosystems and services to the human activities are related.
Thank you very much. I think that's a reoccurring theme at this meeting that we keep hearing, that land, climate, ocean, they're all connected. We can't just focus on one. I really like it. So we're hearing a lot about sort of the purposes of accounting is really about organizing information, right? This is to help people understand what's going on. Mr. Larson, Australia has been leading here in developing ocean accounts for some time through the Ocean Leadership package. I think I have my notes wrong here, but the Ocean Leadership program, I think. Yes. Go for it. And
Okay, so it's interesting when you touch on the Ocean Leadership Program. That's a $100 million program we settled on a couple of years ago. 10% of that program was devoted to ocean accounting, and that that tells you, I think, the focus that Australia now has on both supporting the concept but also delivering on implementation of that concept. And so when you look at that $100 million, $1.1 million supports planning for the rollout of ocean accounting nationally, $7.5 million over 4 years demonstrate and establish project-scale ocean accounts as a credible and cost-effective approach to verifying the benefits of restoring or conserving coastal blue carbon ecosystems. We also have a $2 million element of the program, which is designed to catalyze private sector investment and restoration of coastal ecosystems to build resilience of coastal assets and communities and enhance blue carbon and biodiversity. And of course, that investment needs to be backed up by data, both data as to where you're coming from and data as to where ideally where you end up after your investment. We are also rolling out elements of this regionally across the Pacific. So we have a pilot program with Papua New Guinea and Fiji on a blue carbon program, and that will potentially support a carbon offset, high integrity carbon offset scheme, which we hope to roll out more broadly over a period of time. That tells you, I think, the breadth of the work that's being done on ocean accounting and all related to ocean accounting and supported by Australia and the significance we attach to it. Australia will be releasing its first national ocean ecosystem account in August and November this year, focusing on blue carbon ecosystems and their climate mitigation and resilience benefits. That reinforces, I think, the message of this panel that we see absolute synergy across the climate ocean space. A healthy climate, healthy ocean, they are one and the same thing. These multiple programs that we're engaged in support the development of credible and reliable measures of biodiversity and ecosystem services, which can help build confidence in the private sector investment in restoration and conservation, including through participation in emerging biodiversity and carbon markets. Metrics established through ocean accounts can also inform and enable implementation of the Task Force on Nature-Related Financial Disclosures, Global Risk Management and Disclosure Framework, which aims to shift financial flows to nature-positive outcomes. Through the project-scale ocean accounts work, we're developing a guide on how to affordably apply ocean accounting to blue carbon restoration projects to evidence and verify the benefits of restoring coastal blue carbon ecosystems for climate, biodiversity and people. And we'll showcase project-scale ocean accounts to 2 restored coastal blue carbon sites and seek project financier views on content and methods used. And finally, Australia is committed to supporting global best practice for ocean accounts in collaboration with the United Nations Sustainable Statistics Division. Australia is chairing the UN Working Group to develop statistical standards for ocean accounts. And so I think that tells you we are very focused in efforts in this space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so what do you see as the practical challenges that are needed to overcome to build up these comprehensive ocean accounts? Because you're doing it, so you've had some experience here. They're supporting both government decision-making, but it also sounds like supporting private sector decision-making. And how is that going?
Others on this panel have made the same point, but I'd say data. It's getting the data that we need to make decisions and judgments to justify investment and to be confident that we're getting a return on investment. And I think everything you'll see coming from Australia is effort to better understand what we're talking about, and that requires a much better understanding, a much better knowledge of our starting point, I think. And this reflects the fact that much of the area that we're talking about remains very underdefined, and there's a great deal more work to do.
Thank you very much. That's very exciting. So we've been just talking about decision-making and how this is enabling the private sector. We have someone from the private sector here, so we should probably turn to Mr. Taboni now from BNP Paribas. So we've heard a lot about what the public sector is doing here. How can these ocean accounts facilitate private sector action on a sustainable ocean economy?
So thank you for inviting me to this panel, and thank you for bringing this important issue on the table. So on our side, maybe I could be specific and talk about an example that we recently had is that BNP Paribas a year ago started to launch a new impact investing strategy at group level with the own capital of the bank. And a part of this strategy is to focus on helping and supporting entrepreneurs and funds committed to protect and restore natural capital across the world. And one really key thing, I think, and a lot of people already put some emphasis on that, is that we need really to have data and reliable data to make the best investment decision that we can. We need to better understand. We were not that much familiar with all those entrepreneurs and this ecosystem, and having those data available on this valuable ecosystem and all the activities that are related to that are really key for us and really really important.
Thank you very much. So from what you've been hearing here and your experience, you're representing the private sector on our panel here. If we give you a chance to say, what's the one feature of ocean accounting that if folks, as they're renewing, updating, developing, are going to do, what makes this actionable for you?
So one thing is that when you have to make a decision on to invest or not in the business model, you have to have reliable data when you will invest, and then to keep those data updated, to monitor your investments and take the appropriate action to, for example, support the entrepreneurs that you back up, and take corrective action on this type of thing. So maybe having reliable data from day one and then keep updating them, and that's really key, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So what we're hearing is keep doing it. Don't. This is not a one-shot thing. This is a long-term thing. So for a sustainable ocean economy, we need to also sustain ocean accounting. It sounds like, which is really important. And we don't just want individual countries having a sustainable ocean economy here or there. That doesn't work. We only have one ocean, right? So I'm going to turn to you, Mr. Harbo, and ask you from Norway, co-chairing the high-level panel on the sustainable ocean economy. How do you view these ocean accounts facilitating a global sustainable ocean economy?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to participate in this event and on a very important topic. In my view, and it's also the view of the panel, to go directly to the question, is that ocean accounting is an essential tool for achieving the 100% sustainable ocean economy, which is the goal of the high-level panel. As other panelists have said, what we measure, we value, and what we value, we have a chance to manage and manage better. Improved knowledge of the relationships between the condition of the ecosystems, the state of the environment, the economy, and other human activity will contribute to more sustainable management. In many countries, including Norway, relevant data for ocean management is spread across several institutions. And importantly, many relevant indicators needed to ensure a sustainable ocean economy are currently not measured. This can lead to a too strong dependence on GDP as a single indicator for performance. A more sustainable ocean economy can be achieved if indicators for how economic activity affects ocean ecosystems are seen in a direct connection with the GDP indicator. Ideally in real time, but I think that's some year ahead. The high-level panel, I would encourage those who don't know it to look at the website oceanpanel.org. There's a lot of information, not only on ocean accounting, but on all ocean management issues. And the panel also recommends better data visualization through the use of dashboards to help communicate better the state of and the relationship between GDP and other indicators, such as indicators of ecosystem condition, the distribution of ocean income, and human welfare. We don't only have to collect the data, but also make it sort of accessible and available for decision makers. And then building ocean accounts, of course, is not done overnight. And we need to start somewhere. And I think we have taken a quite pragmatic approach in the case of Norway. And as the ocean satellite accounts can be derived from national accounts, ocean satellite accounts may be considered a good place to start. And this spring, the first pilot ocean satellite account for Norway were published by Statistics Norway. You can find that on Statistics Norway's website. And the ocean satellite accounts show the part of Norway's economy linked to the ocean. And in 2019, we estimated that the ocean economy represents 22% of Norwegian GDP. And that compares to, I think, 2% figure for the US. So it's a pretty high share. Yeah, that's where we are. Sorry about my notes here. It's a bit difficult without a desk, but okay. So it's important to acknowledge that developing ocean accounts with internationally comparable indicators will require international collaboration and communication. And I think this is extremely important, and that links also to the last intervention about the private sector and investors. To manage and to estimate nature risk, for instance, I think it's important that we use standardized account methods. And I'm therefore very pleased to announce that Norway now has become member of the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership. While the UN now actively is working on developing an accounting framework for ocean ecosystems that become a statistical standard, it's important that Ocean Panel member countries and other countries test out ocean accounts in smaller pilots using current frameworks, such as the guidance document of the Global Ocean Accounts Partnership. To wrap up, I'm very pleased to announce that Norway and Indonesia, who is also represented in this panel, recently signed an agreement for collaboration on, amongst other things, ocean accounting. And I think this is a good example of partnering, and we also heard from the Pacific and what Australia is doing, and the UK also. This collaboration with Indonesia will focus on further development of Indonesia's ocean satellite account and on piloting accounts for ocean ecosystems in some of Indonesia's marine protected areas, which was also mentioned by the panelists from Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Manopo, I'm going to let you comment on that in just one moment. But first, Mr. Harbaugh, I want to just follow up with one question. So what do you want to see at the end of this ocean decade as far as ocean accounts? Where should we be at UNOC 2030? Where should we be?
Okay, well, that's a big question. Maybe I can take the perspective from the panel. We are now 17 countries, members of the Ocean Panel. And ocean accounting is one of the issues that we have recommendations on from the panel. And of course, we should start among the 17 countries because the ambition of the panel is to go in front and demonstrate that we can do more to better manage the ocean. So for the high-level panel countries, I hope that they implement ocean accounts by the end of the ocean decade. And if all those 17 countries now actually representing just above 50% of the world's exclusive economic zones. So that means that if these 17 countries do that, then we have really made a difference. And I would also like to see that high-level panel countries provide technical assistance to other countries for implementing their ocean accounts. We have several developing countries in the panel, and also the agreement we just signed with Indonesia is one example of how we should do this. Indonesia is also a panel member. Finally, it's not only enough to collect data and disseminate it, we have to use it for decision making. And one of the ambitions of the high-level panel is that all countries should develop sustainable ocean plans before 2025. And this will be a place to use ocean accounting. So we hope to see that. And also, going back to the heading of this seminar, that we have a more sophisticated way of monitoring economic progress than simply the GDP indicator. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Manopo, do you want to talk a little bit about this exciting partnership with Norway?
Yes, thank you. Indonesia and Norway share common interests and challenges to sustainably manage our ocean. Both countries are also active member on high-level panel for sustainable ocean economy and member of Global Ocean Account Partnership. Indonesia and Norway are in view that international collaboration is must, considering that ocean accounting is quite new arena for all countries. and countries are conducting pilot and initiation in different levels, adopting the environment accounting, including ocean account within global agenda, provides strong impetus for international collaboration. Similar to this initiative, Indonesia is also grateful to continue support from the GOAP Secretariat to develop ocean account in Indonesia through UK government's Blue Planet Fund. With those collaboration and support, Indonesia is ready to lead the ocean account initiative in the region and ready to join further discussion on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is very exciting, and so I want to ask all of our panelists one question, and I'm going to ask for sort of short answers on this. Oftentimes, when I go out and I talk about ocean accounting or natural capital accounting, the accounting bit sort of people start to turn off, and we've heard it's really exciting here, and it actually really is helpful. And so, while I get to sort of, what we say in the US is sort of nerd out about this, I know that's not what you all are doing. So I'm curious, like, if anyone has a moment, can remember a moment when this clicked for them, that this was worth coming up on a panel and talking about, or why we should be talking about this. Sure, do you want to go for it, Nick?
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm happy to take a stab at that one. You know, when I started seeing data, non-ocean accounting data, but other kinds of data about how many people live along our coasts, how many people depend on ocean-related industries, like shipping and fisheries, and it really started me thinking about the disproportionate role that our coastal areas have on our overall well-being and prosperity. As I like to say, in America, we can't go a single day without eating, wearing, or using something that didn't come through one of our ports, right? And we work very closely with the ports in the United States, and we have been talking to them about sea level rise. And they're very concerned, right? And so then we start talking about those issues. But when we go outside of those conversations and try and talk to, I'll say, members of Congress, right? And others that have a lot of influence over our activities, they know ports are important, right? But we haven't so far had numbers and data to talk about what's at risk and what we have to lose. And we can wave around this or that or the over. I can talk about sneakers and bananas, right? But they really want to know why it matters, how much it matters, and it comes down to dollars and cents. And we're so excited to have the ability to be able to have not just conversations with our ports about their vulnerability to sea level rise and storm surge and that kind of thing, but so that we can go with them and advocate for better resilience along our coastlines because we have dollars and cents and data that we can say. And that this sector, as I mentioned before, was resilient to some of the worst shocks that we've faced in a little while. So we have to really invest in these kind of data to make sure that others, not just those that geek out, right, but others can resonate with how important our ocean economies are. Anyway, that's a light bulb moment for me.
I would say the critical moment for us is to step back and you look at what is the investment that's going to be required to restore our marine ecosystems and to mitigate against the impact of what we know is coming down the track by way of climate change, but also to start to roll back waste and pollution and the enormous damage which so many different practices have caused over an extended period. We know that there will be no way that governments alone can finance the scale of work required. And in order to secure the private investment that's going to be necessary, some of that may be philanthropy, but a great deal of it will have to be commercially oriented investment. In order to do that, we have to have effective accounting systems to provide the very base of what our colleague here has described in relation to private sector engagement.
Thank you. I guess we'll just go down the line. It looks like you're ready.
very quick one, because very keen to hear other panel members' views as well. But I mean, Eli, you're completely right. We do get a bit geeky on this data standards and at the kind of national level and global level. How can we make this work? For me, it's impacts on livelihoods. At the end of the day, we've got to have the economies there. We've got to have the national assets. But it's why my example was about flood defences. This is about impacts on people's lives. And supporting decision making to protect mangroves, protect salt marshes. Actually, you know, there's a monetary value which is useful at the national level to get decision making done, but what that is on the ground is people's livelihoods and protecting that. So that's for me what's important.
Mr. Minopo, would you like to?
Yeah, I think let me just share with you that so when we're presenting these ideas of ocean accounting, it's important sometimes to remember that there are lives involved. So the restoration of mangroves, for instance, has a direct impact on the ocean disasters and the livelihood of many, many coastal cities and towns. And so we need to get the numbers, but we need to get the numbers to prevent, to know what to do and what we can do before disasters hit. So restoration is important, but we need to know the exact impact. And having a methodology that we can show and explain in a plain concepts, it's always important. But we have to develop the accounting, we have to develop the methodologies, and then we need to translate it into plain Spanish or English.
Okay, thank you for that very interesting question. I think it goes back to when I started studying economics. I'd never heard about national accounts before. And then I realized that's quite important. But then more recently, when I've been working on climate and then ocean issues, it's clear that to understand the size of the problem, we need data and also to monitor progress or the other way when things are getting worse. To understand the processes, and it's extremely important. And finally, our policy development also needs to be fact-based. And to be a bit philosophical, I think we are living in a world now where that is questioned, unfortunately. That you can come up with so-called alternative facts, and you can just base policy on something, an idea you get in the morning, or at a television show. So I think it's extremely important that we provide the information and data in an accessible manner so that we can get better policy decisions and better management of the ocean. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think for island nations, island economies that are, as I kept saying repeatedly, dependent totally on oceanic resources, there are things that we have come to realize that although our GDP tells us that we depend a large proportion of contributed by tourism, which is directly ocean-based tourism, coral reef-based tourism, and also then you have a very important fishery for which about 1/5 of the population of the country and their families depend on as small scale fishermen. But when we look at GDP, the GDP contribution from all these sectors keeps going down, you know. But so we wonder what's happening, you know. Our contribution to fisheries having the fact that, as I said, 1/5 of the population depends on tuna fisheries, but it keeps going down, and it has gone down to almost 2% of our GDP now. So it doesn't account at all of the way, and that clearly is a way, because of the conventional way we approach towards calculating the GDP as well. So we need to put more attention on valuing natural resources. You know, we have made the Maldives a shark sanctuary. So there is complete ban of fishing for for sharks in the Maldives, and the Maldives is the only country in the Indian Ocean region, in our region, which has put a ban on shark fishery. But we need to convince the fishermen on how we are making so much money by protecting the fishery and protecting sharks, but that is not reflected within our accounts. You know how much of the tourism industry is dependent on diving for sharks and everything. So I can go on giving many examples on natural processes that aren't integrated into the accounting system. So we have an interest in trying to do this and understand this on how we can develop and integrate this into our national accounts. Thank you.
Yeah, I really like what you were saying, because I think you're really illustrating the need for this shift for a 21st century economy, because it's just out ahead, right? Because we're all facing these sorts of challenges of having basically natural resource-based economies. We have climate. All of our economies depend on it, right? That's really fascinating. So I am going to ask Taholo Kami, who's here with us today, to come on up and give us a little bit of a recap of what he's hearing. He might have a follow-up question, because he's been listening, taking notes to all of you. So we're going to do a little bit of a handoff here. Ready?
Thank you, Eli. Excellencies, I live in Fiji, and the community in Fiji implemented locally managed protected areas. And the excitement of some of the older people when describing the success of their commitment was that suddenly they could see species they hadn't seen in many, many years. And when we talk about ocean accounts and how meaningful that is, that's scaling up from that. It's taking the success of the good work and the acknowledgement of what we've lost, and then putting values to that and being able to do that at a national level. For Maldives, we're large ocean states. What we're talking about today underpins the possibility of ocean statehood, rather than the bits and pieces that we've become since decolonization, that trying to figure out the shift from aid-dependent island states to large ocean states with vibrant oceans and vibrant economies. And again, the importance of ocean accounting to make that a reality, that it's part of our systems, and I'm hearing this come through, that this is what we must be doing. So I just want to take just a few very quick things here. Just a congratulations to the Global Oceans Partnership, Accounts Partnerships, and an invitation to those who are here from different countries about taking this up and joining the partnership. And I think it's part of we don't see sustainable ocean economies unless we start to fix this in the way that we measure what a successful economy looks like with our oceans. And so, again, congratulations to all the work that's been done, to UNESCAP, those who've been involved in the high-level panel in making this happen. And just want to acknowledge that as someone coming from a country that's also involved in terms of Fiji. And then finally, tomorrow, I know there's a lot of people who'd like to talk a little bit more about this. We're running out of time, but tomorrow at the coffee shop Di Nata, it's this direction towards the waterfront, from 9 to 10 a.m. There'll be people there. If you do want to have a chat a little bit more about that, that's an opportunity to spend some more time on discussing and what you could do to be part of this partnership. I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to ask you another question. I think we've heard a lot of good things. I'm going to invite our co-host here, Mrs. Alisjahbana, to just come and give us final words. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Taholo, and also thank you very much, Eli, for superbly facilitating the event and the discussion. As we come to the close of this event, let me again, one more time, to thank our high-level panelists for joining this side event today, and especially the many insights and experiences, strong commitments, as well as the growing interest in implementing and using ocean accounts that all of you shared with all of us in this event. Secondly, we also heard from the panelists the significance, the growing importance of data statistics and accounts being discussed at this high-level global conference, not only in the side event, but throughout this conference. And especially, this is a very critical or important element to improve our ocean-related management. And finally, also, of course, we need to further and strengthen the data policy dialogue and continue to expand the implementation, use of ocean account, and link it to the ocean-related policy formulation. We started to hear that from several of the panelists. Although ocean account is relatively new work, several countries just started, but once you have this complete ocean account, with a certain priority areas being elaborated in that particular ocean account, then you could directly relate to the relevant policy formulation. And finally, and in closing, let me reaffirm ESCAP's commitment to the implementation and use of ocean account. And not only in Asia Pacific, of course, we concentrate in Asia Pacific, but we would like very much also to facilitate the discussion across country, across region, to further enhance the implementation and application of this very important account. And finally, I would like to thank GOAP and all partners for organizing this event today. Thank you very much.
So thank you all. I think we had a wonderful discussion. I don't think anybody's ever upset when these sessions end a minute or two early and we get to go look at the beautiful ocean, or I guess it's the river there, but the beautiful water outside. And this gives us some time to have a sort of little informal chat here on the side if people want. We've got a couple minutes, but we'll end early so we can actually talk with each other as well rather than this interaction. Be well, everyone, and thank you. And thank you, panelists.